I'm sure you would have realized by now that I have a serious passion for Italian design and Italian motorcycles. And in the Route 21 private collection, we have quite a strong contingent of Ducati motorcycles. And in a recent episode, we shared with you that we have now finally completed our puzzle, our last piece to complete the World Superbike homologation set in Ducati World Championship winners. And it was only natural when we heard in 2019 that Ducati is making a special bike to celebrate 25 years of the iconic 916 shape in the guise of a Foggy replica, that we wanted to display that bike next to an original 916 and tell the story. Now, here we are, two bikes. Let's enjoy these two beauties side by side. So in the late 80s and early 90s, Ducati's superbike was the 851 and the 888. It's also the bike they went racing World Superbikes with. And the number always refers to the engine capacity being the cc's. So in the early 90s, Massimo Tamburini was tasked with the job of designing the successor to the 888. And in late 1993 at the Milan Motor Show, Ducati unveiled the successor, being the 916. Now that bike immediately won all titles, from best bike of show to most beautiful bike of the year, and it won titles all the way right through. In 2015 it even won an award by the top British magazine as the most influential bike from 1955 to 2015. But this 916 was not just beautiful, iconic design, it was also technically superior to anything else on the road of the day. And to give you some of the stats on that is that the design carried on for 10 years, 5 years as a 916 and thereafter in bigger capacities being a 996 and a 998. So in the first 5 years of World Superbike racing as a 916, they won 4 titles in its maiden year, 94, 95 and 96. Carl Foggarty winning 3 titles in 94, 95 and 98 in the last year. And then when it went to a 996, it won more titles, Carl Foggarty winning in 99. So in the 10 years of the shape, they won 6 riders' titles, 8 constructors' titles and 120 race wins with this bike. Carl Foggarty became synonymous with the 916 because in 3 of his 4 titles, he won on a 916 and his last title on a 996, which is the 916 shape. A total of 43 race victories. So it was only natural that when a quarter of a century, 2.5 decades passed and Ducati wanted to celebrate the iconic 916 design, that they did that with a 916 Anniversario with the Carl Foggarty livery harking back to the 1999 World Superbike livery of Carl Foggarty. Now, just having a look at the bike on my left first, this is one of the Route 21 private collection bikes. It's a 1995 916 SP, stock standard as you see it here, also referred to it as a SP2. In 94 it was a 916 SP1, then in 95 a SP2, and in 96 became an SP3. Now, you will see a couple of things. Back in the day, Ducati belonged to Cagiva and Massimo Tamburini worked for Cagiva Research Center. So you will see that the Ducati font on here is actually the Cagiva font, which has changed over the years when it was sold out from Cagiva. You will see on the tank it's still got the Cagiva elephant on. This being a SP version, it has the monoposto single-seater seat, also has the white number boards on the back. The SPs came standard with the carbon Terminoni exhausts, and a couple of carbon parts were standard on this with the Olin suspension. And also interesting, back in the day, it has the 3 analog clocks, your speedo, your rev counter and your temperature gauge. But just iconic, you will also see a 95 bike on the tank under the clear coat. It has the number 1 symbol celebrating the 94 world title in World Superbikes. Here it even says Ducati Campione del Mondo Superbike. So this very, very special piece, only 401 made during 1995, and that number actually celebrates the 750 SS of Paul Smart that they made 401 of, and it also celebrated as that year they came back and produced these on the Bologna plant. You will also see that with these quick fasteners here on the fairings, this was really the homologation track-focused bike. With the single-sided swing arm, you could take that wheel off and leave the chain and disc and brake calipers all in place. Now, just to compare some of the specs to see how far motorcycle design as well as Ducati have come in 25 years. This bike has a 916cc twin cylinder 90 degree. This is a V4 1103cc. Now, weight of this old one is 192 kilograms. 173 kilograms, so quite a bit lighter. This SP version had 131 horsepower. The new one puts out 214 horsepower. Torque on the older one was 99 Newton meters, and it's now a massive 124 Newton meters. So I'm sure you can appreciate this is a complete different animal to this bike in a day, but that was technologically so advanced, beating all comers in the first 5 years, 4 titles. Now let's have a look at this bike. Now the full designation of this bike is the Panigale V4 25-year Anniversario 916, but also affectionately known as the Foggy replica. And just comparing them cosmetically, there's really cool cues harking back to the old one. Let's start at the rims, front and back, the same color as the old one, the natural carbon fiber front and back mudguard. In the old days, you can see it was a clear coat gloss. Now it's a matte clear coat in front. You'll also see the headlights side by side with the air vents, very much in that look of the day. Also the rear view mirrors. In the history, if you look back to the 888 and the 999 era, they were actually color coded to the body in red. It was really nice that they retained it in black as it was. Going further back, you'll also remember in the 999 era, they lost the single-sided swing arm. So to do a tribute bike, it's really appropriate and perfect to have the single-sided swing arm for this bike, also in the same color, really cool. However, the underseat exhaust has been lost. It's now at the bottom. It used to be a carbon fiber Terminoni, and you will see now it is a titanium Akrapovic down at the bottom. Now, this bike is high-end, so it's more based on the Panigale V4R. If you look from an electronics point of view, the old one had the analog dash. This has a full TFT color display and stacked electronically. It has the top of the range with the R electronics, where it has the Ducati data analytics, where it does the geolocator and your throttle control, you input your lean angles and everything, and all that data you can download onto a USB and a laptop, and that can actually help you improve your riding as well as your track riding abilities. This bike also has all your anti-wheelie, your slipper control, your brake control, everything electronically controlled. You've got the electronic suspension in front, electronic steering damper, you've got your quick shifter up and down, so fully stacked. Your frame is based on the Panigale Corsa. Your screen is the race screen on this bike. You have tons of billet machine parts starting at top, your triple clamp, your race levers which are fold up on both sides, clutch and brake, your footrests are billet machined, even your pickups here, which is fully adjustable to your riding style and position. So your seat is a two-tone, which gives it even more of a monoposto look. Truckloads of carbon fiber front and back rear mud guards, your heel guards, protectors on the clutches and so forth. Your triple clamp in front has lasered on it, the designation of the bike, the Panigale V4 25-year Anniversario, as well as your number / of 500, because only 500 produced of this bike. Bike also comes with a dry clutch and race grips on it, so absolutely nothing else to go spec off a parts catalog. It's all on this bike. And what's really nice, you'll also see, as mentioned before, it has lost the Gajiva font. It's now the proper Ducati font like it's been for the past 20 years. But what's really nice is that on the top of the tank over here, as mentioned before, it has the wreath with the number 1 celebrating their 1994 World Superbike title. Here it's got that gold wreath, but in the wreath it has the 916 25-year Anniversario logo in it. So absolutely cool. The livery, as mentioned before, is based and harking back to the 1999 World Superbike Carl Foggarty livery with his #1 foggy eyes. And that's why affectionately known, the Foggy replica or the 916 tribute bike. I think absolutely exquisite and does a fantastic job in paying homage to this iconic bike. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I have, standing between these two iconic bikes. And on that point, a big thumbs up and a thank you to World of Motorcycles here in Pretoria for making this possible for us. And who knows, maybe one day we can actually take a Foggy replica home to park next to our 916. Remember to click like and subscribe and follow us for more.